Today is a very wonderful coincidental day. We have our class on Tuesday, and this also happens to be my 70th birthday. So Brother Low requested we study two suttas, no? And these are two wonderful suttas. In fact, they are also my favorite sutta, especially the Chula Gosinger. But the Kakachupama Sutta, the parable of the saw, is one sutta I don't remember having taught it before. It's the most scary sutta for most people, no? As we will find out in a while. But it is also one of the most beautiful sutta about loving kindness. This sutta, which you have a copy, is about how a monk should live. Total compassion, non-violent. This sutta is a good reminder for a lot of so-called modern monks today, especially in Sri Lanka. Some of these monks are actually preaching violence against other people, other races, other religions. They should go back to the sutta. They should study the suttas. We are forgetting the suttas. If you forget the suttas, you are forgetting your legacy. You're forgetting your humanity. It's terrible, isn't it? Even before we die, we are already in the subhuman states. We don't have to wait to be reborn. Even now, if you are full of anger, you already are asura. If you're full of hatred, you are a hell being. You're full of ignorance, you're an animal. Not like an animal, but you are an animal if you are ignorant. You're not interested in study. You keep saying, oh, this is difficult, that is difficult. So we never learn. We never develop our wisdom and intelligence. And if we are full of craving and grasping, seeking pleasure here, pleasure there, then we are pretas. Even right now, we are pretas. You know, all those people in the gambling den, all those people who go to casinos, waiting to win, hoping to win. Everybody thinks they want to win. That's an addiction. And that is a preta kind of attitude, if you like. Yeah? So we want to let go of this. The Buddha said you can let go of this. So this is one sutta that teaches us just that. Now look at sutta number one, actually it is 38.1. Kakacha is the saw. This one is a special saw, it's a double-handed, two-person using it. Upama means comparison, sutta, thread. The discourse on the parable of the saw. M21. Okay. Now, although the sutta is addressed to monks, whenever the Buddha says monks, it also applies to us, at least on a simpler level. Now, let's look at the translation. There are lots of notes. This sutta was printed by accident. I wanted to give you only the suttas, don't want to trouble you with so much notes. But the photocopy machine printed everything. So we say, okay, it's a good karma. You can download the other sutta also online. Thus have I heard. At one time the Blessed One was staying in Anathapindika's park in Jeta's Grove near Savatthi. So this is the famous place in Savatthi. So now this is a long sutta, so I'm going to summarize for you. This is on page 14, 14. The sutta translation starts on page 14, 14. 13. Your book is 13, is it? Okay, 13. Right, so here, every sutta has got what's called a protagonist, the key character. So here the key character is someone called Paguna, or his full name is Molya Paguna. Molya means someone with a top knot, a hair in a knot. Molya Paguna. Now this Molya Paguna is a monk, but he's a very interesting monk. He's interested in nuns. he likes to associate with nuns. So the sutta reports that the monks, other brother monks, have been watching him. Say, "Wow, this monk is very close with the nuns." Okay, so we know this is a time when there are nuns around. Okay, so this, whenever anyone says anything bad about the nuns, this Paguna is going to get very upset, very angry. Okay, and will go get into a fight. And similarly, if anyone talks bad about Paguna, the nuns will be very protective of him. Now, you may laugh, no? But I once got myself into trouble with a nun on Facebook. All that I say is, why are you so often online? Especially you're a nun. Every time I turn on my computer, I see her with this broad, money smile. And I said, why are you doing this? I mean, you should be meditating, You should be... good monks and nuns will not spend time so often online. And she got very angry with me. She says, oh, I'm jealous of her and her teacher and so on and so forth. And I said, wow, that only proves my case. An angry nun. There's no such thing as an angry monk, angry nun, but here we have an example. So this sutta reminds, especially monks and nuns, to be humble, not to be protective of a monk, or the monk protective of a nun. It doesn't work like that. So what is monastic training about? So this sutta is going to tell us. So the other monks have been watching this. They say, oh, this Paguna is different from us. He's behaving very strangely. So they go and tell the Buddha. And as usual, the Buddha will call up and say, okay, call Paguna here. All right? So this sutta is about this part where the Buddha instructs Paguna. So in fact, you'll see... what page is it? 14, right? Can you see teaching Paguna? 15. All right? 15, yeah. So, okay, that is about two pages, right? After that is teaching the monks, right? So there are two parts here. So first the Buddha calls up Paguna and asks Paguna, is it true, Paguna, you are doing this, You are so close to the nuns, and the nuns are so close to you, and you are protecting each other in a very strange, unmonkly, unnunly way. Right? So then this is a typical way the Buddha will ask. And then the good thing is Paguna says, yes, Bhante. So he owns it up, so to speak. Then section 6. Okay, now the advice begins. Paguna, it is not proper for a son of family who is a renunciant, gone forth out of faith, from home into homelessness, home into the homeless life, to dwell so intimately with the nuns. Right? Now, but even before that, see, the Buddha asked Paguna, he said, Paguna, are you a renunciant? Are you a renunciant? Are you a monk? Are you a nun? He says, yes, right? So these questions are all very careful, very healing. So the Buddha is trying to remind Paguna what he really is. That he's a monk, a renunciant, one who lets go of the world. We often have this wrong idea about letting go of the world. We say chuchia in Chinese, leave home. You leave home for a bigger home, a palace called a Buddha relic temple, or some big temple which are like a palace. It's better than a home, and it's got more things than you have at home. That's not renunciation. The true renunciation is someone going to the forest, living simple life, even outside the village. Right, so the Buddha is reminding Paguna. Then, next section, the Buddha teaches Paguna what today we call pacifism. Now, this sutta is not easy to teach, because the Buddha is teaching about pacifism, about non-violence. Some of you may say, how can we be so non-violent? What if people attack us? Well, that's the whole point, you see. If you want to be a monk or a nun, you must have very high standards of non-violence. Of course, we are laymen, maybe we have some excuse not to follow everything here. But if you want the perfect kind of Buddhism, this is the Buddha's message. We try to do our best. So, 6.2, therefore, Paguna, even if someone were to speak ill of the nuns in your presence, on such an occasion, Paguna, you should abandon any householder's desire, any householder's thought. So what the Buddha is saying here, if you behave in this way, trying to protect the nuns, or the nuns trying to protect you, you're behaving like lay people. The nuns and the monks, as renunciants, should know how to take care of themselves. Right? On such an occasion, Paguna, you should train yourself thus. Okay, so this is, you see that I've written, prepared a little header there, key practice 1. Okay, very often before I teach, I'll check through. It's a good thing when anybody invites me to teach a new sutta, I know they're very interested, so I'll study the sutta very carefully and try to add in more helpful markers. So here, key practice number 1. Can you see that?
No.
Oh, you don't have? Okay, just make a note there. Key practice number 1. This is in the new version, which is online. This is called the refrain. This is the practice that will be repeated many times in the sutta. When people try to harm us, what do we say? This is what we say. My heart will not be perverted. My heart will not be twisted in any way. Nor shall I utter any bad speech. Right? No bad thoughts, no bad speech. Of course, it means no bad action also. But I shall dwell with a heart of loving kindness, moved by goodness, without a hating heart. So this is the reflection. Again and again. This is how you, Paguna, should train yourself. Right? So this is the training for us also. Then, next is training towards the nun. Therefore, Paguna, even if anyone in your presence were to strike those nuns with the hand, right? They were to hit the nuns with the hand, with a clod of earth, throw earth at the nuns, hit them with a stick, or even strike them with a weapon, a sword even. This weapon you can translate as sword also in Pali. So here the Buddha says, even if this were to happen, you should not be angry. Right? Now this series of actions, being struck by the hand, people throwing clods of earth at us, hitting us with a stick or with a weapon. This was given in the Punawada Sutta, right? Because Punawada wants to go back home to the Bombay area. Then the Buddha said, are you sure you want to go back there? It's such a difficult place, But if people were to hit you with their hand, right? Say, oh, I'm okay with that. Puna says, they do not throw clods of earth at me. Then Buddha said, what do they throw clods of earth at you? Then Puna says, oh, they don't hit me with a stick, Then the Buddha said, what do they hit you with a stick? Oh, Puna said, well, they don't hit me with a weapon, just hit, But there it's be more elaborate, okay, much more fuller, what they call that, sequence. Then the Buddha asks, what if they strike you with a weapon and kill you? That's the final question. And Puna says, then, Blessed One, I am quite happy because they have got rid of this body for me. So the Buddha is testing this monk if he's really ready for missionary work, not to go out and have kung fu and fight people, right? So this monk is ready to die. If that happens, he's not going to hurt anyone. Non-violence. I mean, have you heard of any non-violence like this, right? So then Buddha says, okay, so you're ready to go. All right. So here we have the abridged version. So the Buddha says, if anyone is violent to us in any way, even to the nuns, you should not get angry. The sections repeated, 6.5. My heart will not be perverted in any way, nor shall I utter any bad speech, but I will cultivate loving kindness. You find next time people are angry with you and you show loving kindness, you'll be amazed how their whole attitude will change to you, right? And being really angry, you hurt yourself. You look ugly, your health gets affected, right? So to be healthy, make sure you are happy. Then in the next section, you have another level of pacifism. This pacifism towards yourself. Yeah? Therefore, Paguna 6.6. Yeah? Even if anyone were to speak ill of you to your face, on such an occasion, Paguna, you should abandon any householder's desire or householder's thoughts. Don't react like a layperson. Okay? Of course, here a layperson, the Buddha is talking about a layperson who's not trained, not the layperson who practices the Dharma. Right? But you should reflect, my heart will not be perverted, nor shall I utter any bad speech, but I shall dwell with a heart of loving kindness, and so on. So notice this is repeated the third time. All right? Then 6.8. Here the Buddha says, Paguna, even if anyone were to strike you with a hand, hurl a clod of earth at you, or hit you with a stick, or strike you with a weapon, same thing. You should not show any anger. Send out loving kindness to this person. So the loving kindness phrase is repeated a fourth time now. Right? Then, so that teaching for Paguna, the Buddha addresses Paguna, then the Buddha addresses the monks, because there were monks there, see? So notice this occasion, although the Buddha is teaching one monk, the Buddha is also having monks around him, and those monks also listening. So it's a lesson for the other monks also. But then remember, the sutta is recorded. So the Buddha is talking to all time. In that sense, the Dharma is timeless. You see? While the Buddha is talking there, we today, 2,500 years later, are also watching this whole drama replay. Right? So now the Buddha speaks to the Blessed One speaks to the monks. Now, section 7. Now, bhikshus, there was a time when the monks pleased my heart, right? So this is when there were very few monks, all arahats. Okay, there's a time when the Buddha allowed other monks who are not enlightened yet, lay people are not enlightened, to become monks. Okay, he allowed other monks to ordain lay people. Right? So now the Buddha is going back to the time when there were only arahats. You become a monk by becoming arahats first. So the Buddha says, bhikshus, I take only a single session meal. The Buddha takes only one meal a day. Taking a single session meal, bhikshus, I am free from illness and affliction, and enjoy health and strength, and dwell in comfort. Right? Because monks don't do much physical work, but monks exercise by doing walking exercise, and they walk long distances. Then the Buddha encouraged the monks and nuns. 7.3. Come now, bhikshus, you too take only a single session meal. Now you may ask, how come the Buddha almost certainly is mentioning this taking one meal a day? Buddha was talking about Paguna and the nuns and so on. It's because it's obvious that Paguna has a lot of desire and lust. If you eat too much, more food than you need, especially for a monk, you will have desires. So here one advice the Buddha gives is, taking only one meal a day. You cut on food, your desire also will lessen. Okay, because what do human beings do? The animal aspect of us, species aspect. Number one is look for food. All right, and when you have enough food, you rest. Right, when you have enough food and enough rest, and you are mature enough, produce children. Right? So there's nature's way of perpetuating the species. That is samsara. Right? So that's why here the Buddha says, why don't you try one meal a day? Okay? So this is where the Buddha encouraged the monks to do the same. He says, if you do this, then you'll be healthy, and so on. Yeah? Then look at 7.4. It's very interesting. The Buddha says, there was no need of my instructing those monks, bhikshus. I had only to rouse mindfulness in them. Right? So all the Buddha need to say, meditate, and then they are mindful. Yeah? Basically, what the Buddha is saying is, that happened, that was possible. If that was possible, it is possible. You can do it too. Alright, now the Buddha starts giving a series of parables. Okay, so a number of parables, ending up with the famous Saul parable. First parable is of the chariot and the skilled charioteer. 7.5. Suppose, bhikshus, there were a chariot on good level ground at a crossroads, harnessed by thoroughbreds. Thoroughbreds are very good horses, with a whip on the slant. That means the whip is there in the box ready to be used. And there is a skilled charioteer, and this charioteer holds the reins in the left hand and the whip with the right hand, so he's able to go anywhere he wants very comfortably. So what is this parable about? You look at the word even so, you know, the Buddha's connecting it. Even so, bhikshus, there was no need of my instructing those monks. Bhikshus, I had only to rouse mindfulness in them. So they are like this charioteer. They can just crack the whip and off they go, just like that. Right? So the Buddha just said the word, he cracks the whip, and then this chariots will go very nicely. Then there is the parable of the sal forest. So here we have key teaching number 2, section 8. The Buddha reminds the monk, therefore, bhikshus, abandon the unwholesome. Devote yourself to cultivating wholesome states. Wholesome states are peaceful states of mind that pushes away all the defilements. For that is how you will attain growth, abundance, full development in this Dhamma Vinaya, in this teaching and discipline, the Buddha's teaching that is. Here basically it means keep the precepts, practice meditation. Suppose, bhikshus, there was a great sal forest, this forest of sal trees, not far from the village or market town, and it were covered up by castor oil plants. The Pali word is eranda. So far all the dictionaries give it as castor oil plants. Now these castor oil plants, they grow wild. I remember when I was a kid, there are lots of castor oil plants behind my house. And I used to pluck their seeds. Their seeds are very hairy, spiky and hairy. They're poisonous, you know. Apparently, I suppose they use up lots of energy of the earth, the soil, so it will affect the sal tree, because sal trees are big, and they need all this soil's energy. So there's a lot of this castor oil plant there, and because of that, the tree will be affected. So here the Buddha continues, next paragraph, having cut away the crooked plants that sap vitality away from the sal trees, he would throw them outside and then clear up the interior of the forest. Then he would take good care of the sal trees so that they grow up straight and well. This is how the forest would, in time, attain growth, abundance, full development. So here the Buddha uses like a gardening parable. It says this tree, we remove all the weeds around it so the tree grows beautifully. So we practice by removing distraction, right? Just like when you meditate, you count. Right? When you count, your mind is busy, so push away negative thoughts. That is why as Buddhists we want our mind, which is the most precious object that we have, from being distracted by the world. The world can distract us in many ways by making us do things that we don't want to do. A good example, a very simple example, is when you go to supermarket, shopping mall. What do they have? Number one is very spacious, very nice, very impressive. Even when you don't buy things, you feel like going there. It's aircon, and you don't have to walk up the stairs, just stand there, the stairs will move. And then there's music, like you feel like buying things. They actually have experimented, They got two girls, very close friends, very similar in character. One girl was given sad stories and watched a sad movie and told a lot of sad things, and the other one is always happy things, happy movies and so on. And then they gave both some money and sent them out shopping. The happy one shop more because he saw these movies and so on. So this is what the shopping malls are about. They want you to buy things. So be very careful of bright lights. They attract insects and insect-like humans, right? The kind of light that we should cultivate is the inner light, the Buddha's light. Okay, so don't get distracted by worldly light. All right. So the Buddha tells us to cut away all these weeds. Now the next parable is a very funny one. This is an example of Buddhist humor, because if you don't take it as humorous, this parable is going to be problematic today, all right? Because it's very culture-based. The parable of Lady Vedehika and the woman slave Kali, right? Section 9. Once upon a time, bhikshus, in this very same Savatthi, there was a house lady named Vedehika. Bhikshus, the house lady Vedehika's good reputation has spread about. Thus, the house lady Vedehika is gentle. The house lady Vedehika is humble. The house lady Vedehika is calm. Right? So this perfect looking lady. Okay. Now the question is, she has this very intelligent, hardworking slave. She's too intelligent, unfortunately. So she says, I wonder, is it really true my mistress is gentle, humble, and calm? Let me test her. She's going to test her. Okay. Now, so what did this house slave called Kali do? She got up late the first morning. Okay. Then Lady Vedehika doesn't look very happy. I said, why did you wake up late, right? So she just kind of calmly talked like that, but she disapproved of it. And then the slave Kali, she's not apologetic at all. She said, well, I woke up late, just say like that. She had to see how the lady reacted. Now you may say, that's rather strange. How could a house slave act in this way? Now, this is where you must understand the social background of India. Okay, there are two kinds of workers in the Indian household. One is the house slave, and the other is the paid laborer, kamakara. Okay, this is dasi, dasi. The paid laborer is given money, so he or she has to work. No such thing as, sorry ma'am, I got a headache today, I can't work. She can't say that. They have to work. It's like a contract, see? All right? The house slave is different. A house slave probably owe the family money, and then the whole family become house slaves, So they are part of the family. And it's the duty of the family to take care of those slaves also. In fact, if you look at the Sigalava Sutta, you'll find the Buddha says just that the house lord must take care of the family, including the slaves. Okay, so this house slave is taking a little advantage of the mistress, right? So she was, next day she got up even later, right? Because she see, okay, this my mistress is angry, but she doesn't show that much anger. So she went on getting up later and later until this lady got more angry and more angry until finally she got up so late. Look at section 9.8. Then bhikshus, the woman slave Kali woke up even later in the day. Then bhikshus, the house lady Vedehika, said this to the woman slave, "Hey you Kali, what is it, madam? What's this? You got up even later still in the day." And then she said, "It's nothing at all, madam." Okay? Now, this is humor, right? Nothing is the matter. Indeed, you bad slave. You got up even later in the day. She was angry, displeased, and taking a door bolt, struck her head and cut her. So she bled her. So that shows she's not really gentle and calm anymore, right? So the Buddha is telling this very funny, humorous story. Now, if you don't see the humor in it, it won't work. You see, right? You can say, "Oh, this is not possible. It's a slave and you cannot do this." You have to understand the social background. So what is this parable about? It's a story about this house lady who goes around pretending to be very calm and peaceful outwardly. So this very clever slave wants to test her, and she failed the test. The mistress actually is not really calm, right? Of course, it's a lose-lose situation anyway. Both sides are kind of in trouble. But it's just a story, the Buddha being humorous, trying to impress on the monks. What is it the Buddha is trying to impress on the monks? Basically, the Buddha is saying, you don't be like the landlady, like that house lady, who only pretends to be calm and gentle and peaceful, right? So it's about the false front. Section 10. Even so, right? Notice whenever you see even so, the Buddha is linking the parable to real life. Even so, bhikshus, here a certain monk appears to be very gentle, very humble, very calm. That is, so long as no disagreeable cause of words touches him, right? So here the Buddha is hinting, as some monks pretend to be very calm, peaceful. As long as you're nice to them, they appear like that. But bhikshus, it is when disagreeable words touch a monk that he should be known to be gentle or to be humble or to be calm. Right? So if you scold a monk, is he calm or not? Right? That's when you find out. No? Right? So that nun who got very angry with me on Facebook obviously has not read the sutta, section 10, right, of the parable of the soul. Bhikshus, I do not call a monk tractable, easily admonished, or makes himself tractable, teachable, for the sake of robes, alms, food, lodging, and medicine, support, and necessities for the sick, right? So monks would pretend to be very calm because they want all these goodies. No? So you should be, by nature, calm and peaceful, right? Notice the Buddha is giving so many parables, Then the Buddha goes deeper, section 10.3. But bhikshus, when a monk honoring the Dhamma, respecting the Dhamma, esteeming the Dhamma, venerating the Dhamma, revering the Dhamma. Notice how many times the Buddha repeats the same words with the same meaning. So this is called a register of synonyms. Okay. So basically, it's respecting the Dhamma, is tractable, and makes himself tractable. That means he can be taught because he respects the Dhamma, right? So the meaning here is that we want to learn the Dhamma not for honor, fame, wealth, but because we respect the Dhamma. But I like to say because we love the Dhamma also, love and respect. Yeah. Therefore, bhikshus, you should consider thus. Right. So this is the Buddha's advice. Only in honoring Dhamma, respecting Dhamma, esteeming the Dhamma, venerating the Dhamma, revering the Dhamma, we shall be tractable or make ourselves tractable. This is how you should train yourself. Okay? Alright, so there you are. You see, the Buddha has been giving different parables, reminding the monks, reminding us how to truly be calm and peaceful inside, not just pretending to be so. Now the Buddha talks about 5 ways of talking. Bhikshus, there are these 5 ways of speech that others use to speak to you. That is to say, timely or untimely, true or untrue, gentle or harsh, connected with the goal or unconnected with the goal, with loving kindness or with a hating heart. Right? So when we hear people talk to us, it's going to be one of these 5 pairs, 5 contrasting modes. Right? When others speak with you, because they might speak in a timely manner or in an untimely manner, right? So whether it is timely or untimely, gentle or harsh, truthful or false, connected with the goal or not connected with the goal, with loving kindness or with hate, this is how they'll talk to us. Yeah? So no matter what it is, the Buddha said, you must show your loving kindness. So this is the refrain, not this number 6 time, right? The Buddha has mentioned this. Can you see a tiny little number there?
What's the number?
6.3. Can you see? It is a 9 point. Is it there in your notes? On 11.3, at the end of 11.3, can you see a small number there? Oh, don't have, huh? So download the latest version, okay, online. So anyway, so the Buddha says you should, no matter how people talk to you, rightly or wrongly, show your loving kindness to them. Okay? In other words, don't let people control you. You just be at peace with yourself. Based on that, beginning with that, we will dwell pervading the whole world with a heart of loving kindness. Vast, grown great, boundless, free from hate, free from ill will. Notice, this is the loving kindness practice. Eh? First, the Buddha said you send your loving kindness to that person. Next, to the whole world, to everyone. Okay. So there are 2 parts here. By now you notice the theme of this sutta keep recurring is about loving kindness. Yeah? Now that the Buddha is talking about the whole world, talking about the earth, there's a new parable here. The parable of one trying to dig up the earth. Section 12. Suppose, bhikshus, a man were to come along bringing a hoe and a basket and were to say, I will make this whole earth be no more earth. I'm going to remove this earth. And he's going to dig. He said, I'm going to use my chankol and dig and remove all this earth. Is it possible? I mean, today you have these big machines that are able to gouge out huge amounts of earth. Even these machines cannot remove all the earth, right? So here the Buddha is giving a very clear parable. You cannot remove this earth with a chankol and a basket. Why? Because this great earth cannot be measured. It's deep and cannot be measured. What is this great earth? It represents your loving kindness. Okay? So now the Buddha relates the parable. So even when someone talks to you in a timely way, untimely way. Untimely means tell you the wrong thing at the wrong time. Tell something stupid, in other words. True or false, gentle or harsh, connected with the goal or not connected with the goal. In other words, sometimes connected with the Dharma, sometimes not connected with the Dharma. Okay, with loving kindness or with hate, you are still calm. This is another version of the 8 winds. In other words, no matter which way the wind blows, you are calm. All right, so you will not retaliate. You will not be angry. You will be practicing loving kindness, and that section on loving kindness repeats itself there. To that, you show loving kindness to that person, and you show loving kindness to the whole world. Now we come to another parable. This time is a parable of someone trying to draw pictures in space. This sutta is full of parables. Notice section 14. Suppose, bhikshus, a person were to come along with lac or turmeric or cloud grey or crimson, and he would, okay, so these are colors, no? These are different colors in ancient India, okay? Okay, can you hear me? All right, yeah? All right, so it takes all these colors. Yes, I will paint a figure in space. I will create form, okay? So he gets all these colors. He says, I'm going to paint something in the air. Is it possible? The parable here is that you can take all the colors you want, but you can't paint anything in the air. No? It's not possible. Okay? So here, in other words, if your mind is filled with loving kindness, you're at peace with yourself, no matter what people say, what people do, they cannot hurt you. Your loving kindness is like space. Okay? So this is another parable. No? Then the same section on loving kindness is given again. Now section 16. This is the parable of someone trying to burn up the Ganges with grass torch. Okay? Someone trying to burn the Singapore River with a blowtorch, let's say, okay? That's the closest thing I can think in our times. You have this, that acetylene blowtorch, no? All right? Suppose, bhikshus, a man were to come bringing along a blazing grass torch and were to say, with this blazing grass torch, I will heat up the river, the Ganges River, and boil it away. Can you do that? No. Right? So what does this mean? Why? Because the river is deep, unfathomable. What does the river stand for here? Your loving kindness. If you have loving kindness, you have inner peace, people cannot take it away. All right? So the Buddha is saying that the 5 ways of talking, 5 pairs of ways of talking should not trouble you. People can talk to you in any way. You are like this river. So you can choose any of these parables. I'm like this big river. They can try and boil it. I'm not going to evaporate. You know? Okay? Then one more parable. Okay, this parable is quite tricky also. The parable of someone trying to rustle a catskin bag. Apparently in India in those days, in fact I did some research, they do sometimes make bags from catskin. I mean, here I like to see the parable as that of, imagine you have a cat, okay? A nice cat with very nice fur. Right? I have 2 cats. One cat, the fur is very nice. The other old cat, the fur is not so nice already. So when a young cat with beautiful fur, you rub the fur it won't even rustle. It won't make any noise. When you rub your clothing, it rustles. You can hear sound, But you try and rub and stroke your cat, there's no sound. It's kind of almost no sound, let's put it that way, right?
Except the purring.
Of course, the cat will purr, right? So why is it? It's soft like cotton, So you go on doing that, you can't make any noise. So here the Buddha, again, there's a bit of humor here. The Buddha said, okay, you be like a cat. They can stroke you as much as they want, but no sound. Because fur is very soft. Right. So you are gentle with your loving kindness like the cat with beautiful fur. They can't make any noise from you. Okay, so this is another parable. And then the Buddha repeats the 5 pairs of speech and says, they should not trouble you. And now we come to the ending of the sutta, the last parable. This is the most powerful of all parables. In all religions, by the way, the parable of the saw. Okay? Not just any ordinary saw. This is a double-handled saw. 2 people use it to cut log, Okay? Section 20. Bhikshus, even if low-down thieves, notice Buddha said low-down thieves, bad guys, were to cut you up from limb to limb with a double-handed saw, if you were ever to defile your mind with anger, you are thereby not a doer of my teaching. Oh, wow, this is scary. Now remember, the Buddha didn't say lay people, he said to the monks. Okay. Now I wish that there was this monk recently in the papers in Sri Lanka, who actually said that, he said that the members of certain races, they are hell beings or whatever, that they should be killed and so on. He actually is quite violent in his words. And he's not apologetic about it at all. The interviewer is shocked, So if only he remembers the sutta, It's very clear here, The Buddha says, if someone were to cut you up with a saw and you were to have anger, you are not practicing my teaching. Now, Gandhi will be very happy with this. Gandhi will say, wow. In fact, Gandhi probably inspired by this, and he got India independence because of this. So, therein, bhikshus, you should train yourself in this way. Our hearts will not be perverted in any way, nor shall we utter any harsh speech, any bad speech. But we shall dwell with a heart of loving kindness, moved by goodness, without a hating heart. Now, if you have a pen, you can make a note there, square brackets with the double S sign, 6.3. Right? 6.3 is the first occurrence of this section. All the notes are there. 6.3. And we will dwell pervading that person with a heart of loving kindness. Right? And then next section, we will pervade the whole world with loving kindness. Okay? Then towards the end, 21, if bhikshus, this exhortation of the parable of the saw were to be borne in mind constantly by you, would you see any cause of speech, trivial or gross, that you could not endure, right? So the Buddha said, if you have this kind of patience, you can withstand any kind of speech, right? Therefore, 21.2, therefore, bhikshus, constantly keep in mind this exhortation on the parable of the saw. It would be for your good and happiness for a long time, right? So this is the Buddha's reminder to us, right? So even though we are not monks and nuns, it's good to be able to be patient. If the Buddha expects such high standards from the monks themselves. So the sutta ends there, and the monks are very happy. They rejoice in the Blessed One's teaching. Okay?